Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my new series in which I put different generations of the same car against each other to see which one fares the best. So the first car I'm going to be doing this with is the Honda NSX, which has 3 different models in Gran Turismo 7. So we're going to be ranking the car on exterior, interior, sound and lap time. The maximum score a car can get is 12. So if it gets first in a category, it's 3 points, second is 2 points, and third is a single point. I hope I can keep making these videos because I really did enjoy it, and I got to do more editing, more voice work, and obviously I get to use many different cars. So let's get on to it and let's see which NSX is going to come out on top. So first category is exterior, and in first place, well, it's kind of obvious. It's the original NSX Type R. When someone mentions an NSX, this is probably the car you're thinking of. And, well, it's an iconic shape, an iconic look by now, and it has pop-up headlights. Automatically makes it cool as hell, and it was kind of obvious this would be first. Second place we have the Revision. Although the body does look a bit more aggressive, especially at the rear. It looks really good at the rear. They've removed the pop-up headlights, so for me, it's, loses a bit of that look. It's not as attractive to me. So I did put it second, which I guess sadly just leaves one version of the car left. So third place, we've got the most modern NSX. Sadly only getting 1 point, although it is a really good looking sports car. It just doesn't scream NSX for me. Completely different styling from what you think when someone mentions Honda NSX. Still a good looking car, but it's the least attractive of all three to me. So the second category, interior, up first. Again we have the Gen 1, which I put second, although I really like the interior, and to me it looks really good for the age of the car. Sadly it has been beat, but it's not been beat by the car you probably think. One thing to note, I absolutely love the steering wheel in this car. So second place, this was one that you probably thought would win this category, but for me it's the least appealing. It doesn't have the details of the original, although it has still has a really good looking steering wheel. It just looks a bit more basic and plasticky inside. But like I said, the steering wheel for me is a highlight in this car, the first bit. So that just leaves in first the most modern NSX. I think if I personally had to sit in any of these cars, this would be it. It's very attractive, very modern looking, and I absolutely love the dials in this car. So third category is sound design. I am not going to talk through this, I'm going to let the cars do the talking. So the final category we're going to rate these cars on is lap time. I did a 1 lap at Fuji using all 3 of the cars, exact same assists and settings for all the cars, no modifications. So first up we had the original NSX. Obviously this is to test the brakes, handling, speed. stability of the car. For me, for such an old car, this handled really well. It was a bit more twitchy than the others, however it performed much better than I expected. So one thing to note with all these one lap tests that I'm going to be doing is, yes, there can be driver error. I want to do them uncut. I don't want to sort of stage this with the most perfect lap, so this is the one I'm going to put in. It was literally first lap for each car, just for that that raw feel. So that way, if a car doesn't suit me, then that's obviously going to affect its score. I mean, it is my list, but I do want to sort of make note of that to everyone. So overall, for a car of this age, it did feel very, very good. I was quite surprised. A lot of these older cars don't feel very good on this game. Like, it might just be the game itself. A lot of older cars don't feel at home on the track. They might have done back in the old Gran Turismos, but modern day games, they don't feel too great anymore. This car did. It felt like it could take on the track and like it belonged on the track. Sadly, with it being what is called the bunch, it was kind of expected it did come in last. It came across with a 2-minute 9.846, which is still impressive. Very good lap. Sadly, it only comes away with 1 point from this category. So up next we have the 2002 model, which is, I used to think this was a generation in itself of the NSX. Turns out it's just a revision. Like I said, more aggressive styling and the pop-ups have gone. One thing to note with this car, it did feel much better than the original. It felt more balanced, but it was the worst with the traction control on at all. I would recommend traction control completely off for this car. But, obviously to make it fair on all the cars, I kept the assist the same, so I got that same raw experience. We're doing a standing start again. 1 lap only, no edits, first lap straight out on the track and see what time we got. In the end, it did get a 2-minute 8.895, which put it second. So, as guessed, the NSX did improve over time, with the most modern one, as you're going to see, being the fastest. You might be surprised quite a bit by the gap. One thing that did surprise me was the gap between this one and the original wasn't as much as I thought it would be. Although this car did feel much better on the track. It might have been, down to my driver error. I do feel like I could have easily took another second off of it. But even so, I mean, 10 years different for the sake of a second is nothing really. We're just coming up to the final part of the track here, and this is where the car felt at its worst. As I said, I do feel like it was because the traction control was on. I would 100% recommend it to be off. The car just doesn't seem to suit it. It sort of acts in weird ways, but again, that's kind of down to the game. So second place for this, it takes 2 points in the category, 2-minute 8.895. Not as big a gap as I thought from the original, but still. So last up here, taking a win in this category by a mile, is the most modern NSX, the actual Generation 2. It was expected that it'd win. Personally, I didn't think it'd be by this much, but 4-wheel drive feels much better on the brakes, really good acceleration, great top speed, and to be honest, all around the best on the track. That 4-wheel drive system helping the car out, especially in the corners. I do feel like you could drive this car quite easily with the traction control off. I was more comfortable using this car. I felt more confident, especially going into corners. You felt like you could brake much later than some of the previous cars. The grip was pretty much always there. It did sort of kick a bit, but not to the point where you felt like you was, out of control of the car. Speed-wise, it just feels like a typical sporty Japanese car. For me, it doesn't feel anywhere close to the GTR, but it does feel around about the same as the Supra, maybe a bit better, the modern Supra. If I had to rank the modern Japanese sport cars, this would probably be second. So at first I've had the GTR, NSX, and then the Supra. I've never really been mind blown by the modern Supra, especially in this game. I'm not a big fan of how it drives. But that's off topic. It won this category by quite a big amount, coming across the line with a 2:02, 2:85. I do feel like it could have gone quicker, but yeah, it does finally win a category. So on to the final results, and in third place sadly is the Generation 1 revision with 7 out of 12 points. I am quite surprised by this. I did think this car would come second. Beautiful looking car, still quick, but it's just middle of the road. It's not as fast on the track as this one, the most modern NSX, scoring 8 out of 12 points. Not as good looking as the other two, but again, that performance on the track and its modern interior did sort of give it a boost up the rankings. I don't think it would have been anywhere close without winning the lap time and the interior categories. So obviously first place for me, my complete favourite of the bunch, the original, pop-up headlights included, the 1992 Type R. For me, this is the most iconic NSX. It doesn't get any more iconic than this, and it won with 9 out of 12 points. So that concludes this video. We have our winner. If you like this video, don't forget to let me know, because I enjoyed making it and I want to keep making this type of content for you. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and I will hopefully see you all in the next video. Cheers guys.